Welcome to another episode of the Limitless Podcast. I'm your host, Dr.TonyHolmes, and today I have a very special guest with me, my cohort member, fellow doctor as well, Dr. Erica Miller. Big Doc. Big Doc is the name. How you doing?
I'm good.
You good?
I'm good.
Traveled all the way from South Carolina to be with us today. I'm very grateful for you gracing us with your presence and being here today. So tell us what's going on lately. Introduce yourself to the people, but you got some great stuff coming up in the next month or so. But I'll let you share who you are and what's going on in your world, and we'll get into it. So,
Okay. Well, my name is Erica. And, I've created this whole nickname of being the big doc, just going through the process of surviving the doctoral process. But before I navigated through graduate school, I was in the military. And I served 8 years in the Army as a 92 Alpha, which is an automated logistics specialist, and one deployment. And I took the leap of faith in my mid-20s to be a mother and go out into the civilian sector. But I found myself back in the federal government supporting the service members. So I've been a civil servant serving the DOD for the last 9 years with some other agencies in between. And I built a career being a government information specialist, Freedom of Information Act. So I just basically classify information and release it to the public. So I read a lot of crazy things. I think, the last 5 years I spent reading about death cases from service members in the Middle East and so on. And my career jump-started me into attending University of Southern California, getting my master's in legal studies, and then I just decided to jump into a doctorate program. They say when Black women are bored, we start a new degree.
okay, never
Yeah.
heard of that. That's what's up.
And I applied to the OCO program at Razier Education Program, and I didn't even expect to get into the program. I got the phone call like, congratulations. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And it's like, yeah. So that is how, the last 15 years of my life has been. It came so quickly. And this is how I met Dr. Tony.
Yeah, check it out. Look at things going full circle and in that way. Well, first, thank you for your service. I always like to make sure I say that. And let's talk about the jumping. You said a few times. Yeah, you can move that if you need to.
Okay.
You said a few times about jumping into different things and things that have occurred in your life. What has that process been like as you've jumped into many different things, from motherhood to graduate schools, military, of course, and even doctoral work? What's that jump like? You talk about that, but describe that for us. Like, what does that mean?
Well, when you use the vernacular jump, I think it started early on in my teenagehood, jumping from job to job. And my father used to say, "You're never going to have a job because you're going to leave a job." But I always would rebuttal, "But I can keep a job."
Okay.
So anytime I found myself dissatisfied, I would change jobs. And joining the military required me to be stationary. Yeah, you can change a job, which is pretty complex. You can change your location at a certain discretion, but you have to sit still. And that's the first part of my adulthood where I had to sit in something even when it was troubling. And then when I got my freedom back, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go do that. And anytime I was not satisfied or I was hungry for something else, I would go challenge myself to jump to the next thing. But, I'm going into year 35 of my life, and I feel like maybe I shouldn't have jumped so much. I've been playing double dutch a lot in my career. Sometimes you got to jump out.
Just to jump out of the double dutch.
Yes, and be stationary.
Wow. So you say you're going into year 35. I feel like you've done a lot at going into year 35. Have you reflected on some of the things that you've done in your life up to this point?
I'm doing it now. I have always been someone who would check off the box of whatever goal, task, and go to the next. And completing this doctorate degree, you're so exhausted depending on how your life is, everyone doesn't have the same experience, but it takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot of mental capacity, physical capacities, the social part of, you segregating yourself and isolating yourself to focus on this one task. It drains you. So I'm about 30 days to my commencement ceremony, even though we're in the same cohort. It took me an extra 6 months.
That's all right.
And we'll get into that. But I am going to my commencement ceremony in May, and I'm reflecting now. I'm forcing myself to stay stationary mentally and travel back into time, because we live in an era where everything is like microwavable, everything's instant. And you do something, you go to the next, and you don't even appreciate the journey, the process. And our fellow favorite professor, Dr. Crew, always had this saying, be good or be gone. And I definitely live by that. If I'm not good or you're not good, we're gonna be gone. But I can't keep moving at 100 miles per hour. You have to embrace the journey. And that's what I'm doing now. Today is the first day where I'm reflecting on not just the doctoral program. My education took me 10 years, but it really took me from the age of 18 or 17 when I left for college the first time until today, which is 34 going into 35.
34 going into 35, a doctorate, a mother, a veteran, like the rarity of that combination. What do you have to say to people out there who are, maybe let's speak to women specifically? It's Women's History Month, so, or just was, and you think of the women out there who are striving to be all the things. What would you say to the woman out there who's struggling with being all the things that they have to be a full person and then show up for other people? What do you have to say with that?
Yeah, I think even just thinking about this moment at this capacity of living in America, women are losing rights rapidly within the last year. The revoking of Roe versus Wade, removing women from public high profile positions. There has been a significant cut for women in the workforce, private and federal government. And I put something in my acknowledgement of my dissertation saying that, you are the conductor of your life. If you're religious, whatever your religion is, obviously your God is the individual that leads you into your path. But we are the conductors of our lives. And as women, we are challenged to juggle everything. We are the leaders in our household, whether people want to believe it or not. We are nurses in our houses. We are mentors. We are cooks. We are mental health providers in our community, in our network, in our atmosphere of our home. And you can't beat yourself up in your womanhood for every inconvenience. Oh, I don't feel like I'm a great mother because of this little thing, or I'm not the best in my household with my spouse or my significant other, or, oh, I look fat or I look ugly today. If we really sit and analyze the capacity of a woman, no species in this world could be able to do what a woman does. We juggle so much, and we still have to restart every 24 hours and continue. There's no breaks.
Yeah.
There's no breaks.
Yeah. That's so true. I learned that with watching my wife become a mom. I have so much respect for women. And I think it took seeing that process for me to fully understand. And then having a daughter now, I definitely understand the full circle of womanhood in a different way than I ever have. So much respect to women, much respect to you. As you now reflect on you completing this doctoral process, a huge milestone. I want to round of applause to you and everybody in our cohort and who else has finished the program. How does it feel? Or let's go back. How did it feel to go through the process of completing your doctorate as you get ready to walk on that stage, but the work has been done? How does that feel now?
Well, I was the one student that was very irritable. I quit every semester because I come from the government sector, and this program was like, hey, this fits your demographic, it fits your field, and I couldn't see it. I didn't believe it. I was miserable. I think every semester I said I was quitting. I was the student that if I didn't like the professor, I'm changing the class.
Facts.
I'm popping up. I'm popping up third week on a Saturday, and y'all like, who is this?
Facts. I seen it.
Yeah, and the program, I feel like it definitely propelled me in a professional way, in a more analytical way of understanding how you apply problem solving in whatever field. How do you apply research? How do you find solutions? How do you create community? How do you understand the individuals within your community? I will say that I feel like Razir gave us a lot of stepping stones and tools in our toolbox to be able to go out into our respective fields in our community and be able to apply the knowledge that we learned. But it was a journey. It was a journey. Not only going through the doctoral process, you have to juggle life, and I remember the first class I had I can't even remember the professor, but I remember her saying, there's no more TV. There's no more, tell your family you'll see them. And I was like, it's going to be some TV over here. But in reality, I'm over here watching TV and everybody else is gone. My colleagues took off. And by the end of the program, I'm sitting with, if you don't know, most dissertations are 5 chapters. A traditional dissertation is 5 chapters. In most programs, they want you to at least have 1 through 3 within your second year, going into your third year. I was sitting with 1.5 chapters at the end of the program. And I didn't care. I did not care. I think it was like maybe December 2024 when we finished the last class.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I went the last year in our doctorate program and I did not talk to my chair. And he didn't talk to me either. I was hiding like he was the IRS. Okay? I was hiding. If he didn't say nothing to me, I wasn't going to say nothing to him because I know I was not being disciplined and I wasn't being respectful of his time. In March of 2025, I cut on Kurt Franklin's Tiny Desk. I played it. I don't know what was in that tiny desk, but I went upstairs to my office and I began to write. And I shut everything out. I relied on my colleagues to get me through. And my cohort, there's members in my cohort that told me they were going to drag me to the finish line. Because I was kicking and screaming, I'm not going to finish. And I think that's when it finally clicked. That your undergrad is about testing, understanding your specific major. Your master's, depending on what type of master's, you do your coursework, you do your thesis, if you have a thesis. The doctorate degree is really about community. It is. And I resisted community within our cohort because I've been used to being an individual and surviving on my own. And I realized I'm not going to get this dissertation done by myself. So I relied on you. I relied on other individuals who had finished. And I had such an amazing committee. They poured into me. Dr. Crew, for whatever reason, he could read me like no other. And when I defended, he said, now I know that you can go out and be a good leader because you have learned to lead with love. Something that we forget in leadership. We're so busy thinking about the tangible things, management, manpower, resources. But do you have empathy for the people who's actually producing work?
Wow.
A lot of that is disappearing in this country. So that was my journey. It was, and even defending my dissertation that day, everything went wrong. I had a kid that got sick. I ordered some balloons and they weren't what I ordered. No one was there to celebrate me. And I went into hibernation afterwards. I couldn't do anything else. I was depleted.
Mm.
And it reminded me the feeling of maybe like basic training. You're so depleted of putting 110% into something of an unknown, something that you could not see. And the only thing I will say that mentally kept me going is I kept reminding myself that this doctoral process was a tunnel. You start the tunnel and you see the light behind you. It's pretty vivid. It's bright. But year 1, year 2, now it's dark. The only way you're going to be able to foresee your future is you get out of the tunnel. And that was the biggest relief. Thank God my black ass is out of here.
Well, we definitely thank God, and I'm glad to be a part of the committee or the team that was able to cheer you on to the finish line. And as you get ready to go and walk across that stage, and you have your daughter coming with you,
Yeah.
what do you hope she sees in you for herself as she goes on into her life and grows up?
Well, before I answer that, what really inspired me to even apply for a doctorate education was my child suffered from dyslexia. And I didn't know. I didn't know what it was. You know, educators would say, "Oh, she'll grow out of it. She's writing letters backwards, numbers backwards." I didn't know what that was. And if it wasn't for our doctorate program, I wouldn't have been able to diagnose her, get her the resources she needed, and get the legal aspect of forcing the school system to provide resources. That all came from my peers. A colleague was describing something he dealt with, and I said, "What are the symptoms?" And he told me, I said, "That sounds like my daughter." And then one of my professors, after sharing what I believed or perceived as dyslexia, she sent me a whole bunch of books. Then when I was having issues within my daughter's school system to actually get her diagnosed with dyslexia, another colleague who worked for New York disability system, she said, "No, this is how you appeal it. This is how you file a complaint with the Department of Education." Right? I wouldn't have been able to do that without the knowledge.
Right.
And then the experience that I had in that process, I live in South Carolina. I'm from South Carolina, even though I've traveled a lot. We are still way behind collectively as a country when you think about education, but specifically South Carolina is ranked like number 43 in education. And the way my daughter educators spoke to me when she was in the 2nd grade, they spoke to me as if I was incompetent. And that is like, okay, I'm going to go get me a doctor of education degree. So that's now my daughter's seeing me. I cannot wait for her to actually see the result of me sacrificing all that time in that office in my personal office of writing, because she couldn't understand it.
Right.
She couldn't understand it. She's like, "When are you going to be done?" Or why I'm so irritable, or why I'm frustrated. She couldn't see it. And I hope that I inspire her to where she'll understand that you can truly be whatever you want to be. Will you have some disparities? Yes. Will you have some stereotypes? Yes. Will you have a lack of something? Yes. But if you desire something, you can truly be it. And I think now it kind of clicks because when we're in public or in a school setting, people are referring to me as doctor.
Is she hearing that?
Yes. So hopefully I inspire her for whatever she wants to be. I push education heavily in my household because I come from 2 parents who didn't finish school. I didn't have anyone in my household that could read and help me in my education. I got myself to college. And if I had someone in the household, I probably would have been even further ahead now if I had someone. So I'm nervous about commencement. I'm nervous.
Yeah, it's normal.
Yeah, and I think that once I get across the stage, that's when it's going to be reality. Like, okay, what are you going to do with your toolbox that USC gave you?
Yeah.
Because right now, my toolbox is sitting next to me, and I'm a doctor. But I haven't actually opened my toolbox to actually find some results in applying what we learned to my specific field.
Even though you got a great thing that's coming up right on the other side of the wall.
Maybe.
Maybe. She say maybe, but it's a done deal as far as what I know, but I'll let her keep that secret to herself for whatever she wants to share in that way. But when you think of what's next for you, what are you most excited about now that you have this degree behind you? And I mean, the world is your oyster, as they say. You have had a lot of great experience. What's next for you? What are you most
I
excited
don't, I feel like I'm kind of scared. I don't know why. When I sit and really reflect on my life, I was accomplishing things in my 20s and I never feared anything because I didn't have nothing to fear
about?
because I had already came out of poverty. I've already been through the worst. What could be worse than this? But now the more you accomplish, the more accolades and resources you obtain, I feel like now I have to be more delicate. So I'm a little nervous with the power that I actually have because it's intimidating. And in the field that I work in the government sector, they don't really care about education. They don't. They don't you know, give you authority to even use your education because it is a culture that's systematically designed to work for a specific group of people. They don't want change.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, I'm a little nervous. I want to apply all the things I've learned in my education, but how is it going to fit in a culture that really censors the ability to critically think, to analyze, to be outspoken, to inspire and encourage you to actually think diverse? Where does that fit in the government sector? I can't see it.
So maybe you can be that change that you talk about, or that change. That's what the C in OCL stands for, is organizational change and leadership.
Maybe.
So I'm super proud of you to just see you blossom in this way and just continue to inspire other people, inspiring women, inspiring men, inspiring veterans, to continue to not just go along the path of education, but just development in general. You say that if you had more help in your household, you would have gone further. Well, I think going into 35, you've done a lot. You're doing pretty good.
I don't know. I could have been the president if somebody had read to me. I don't know.
You could be the president of something. So as you kind of, sign off in this way to your audience and the audience of the Limitless Podcast, what do you have to say to people when it comes to when somebody tells you no, you can't do something, and you're like, but I believe I can. That's what we call breaking the barrier. So like talk about that barrier or the barriers that you've broken in your life to get to the other side. Like what would you say to other
That's
people
great.
facing that?
I love that. That I am where I am because I had a lot of people in the journey tell me, you can't do that. You won't be nothing. It's no way you can. That's not possible. Like, I love it. It gives me, I fuel off of negativity. Okay, so don't be me. But I love it because I love to prove a point. And that's probably why I've been able to blossom so quickly because I got to prove a point. But for the listeners, for anyone that's going to watch this or inspired by the discussion that we're having, you cannot allow someone's opinion, perspective to demoralize how you perceive things. It's just their words.
Yeah.
And I'm just a firm believer because I've seen so many people accomplish things that you would think, how were they able to do it? It's do you want to do it?
Yeah.
Are you going to sit and sulk in your misery because such and such said that's not tangible? That's impossible. Are you going to build equity within yourself and say, I'm going to try this?
Yeah.
Failure is the greatest lesson. If you're not failing in some capacity at some point in your life, are you really learning? And you should be taking other people's experiences as lessons as well. It may not align with every aspect of your life, but life is its own teacher. So I've never allowed anyone to tell me you can't do something because at a young age, I had people telling me you aren't going to be able to do that. My own father, I mean, even when I joined the Army, my uncles made bets that I wouldn't even make it through basic training,
Mm, mm, mm,
or she's not going to make it through her first contract,
mhm,
or she's not going to make it through that deployment. I am the only female in my family to join the military. I'm the only female to own a home without a man.
mm,
I am the only doctor in my entire bloodline
mm.
traced back from slavery.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Wow. Wow.
I am the only one to go to a top 30 private school. So you can't tell me it's not possible.
Mhm.
You can't.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I am positive about in my life. You can't tell me that the inevitable is not possible.
Mm, mm. That's some bars from Big Doc. Wow. Well, I mean, one thing I'm not gonna do is tell you what you're not gonna do. So, anything else you want to leave the audience with before we wrap up? Because that was amazing.
No. I think that in this current stage in America is very discouraging for certain demographics, different ethnicities, certain classes. And I really hope that people actually take what is currently going on seriously, because this is a real life experience of poor leadership. This is a real life experience of how it only takes a few people to destroy a large population of people. This is an opportunity to really analyze what direction you want to go in life and don't allow barriers to manipulate your mindset of you can't do something.
Yeah.
You are the conductor of your life. So are you going to get on your train and lead yourself?
Mm. Another fire, fire gems, fire emojis everywhere. Listen, I think that this was an incredible conversation. I know that leading up to this, you was like, "What are we gonna be talking about?" But I think everything you said was what was needed to be said, and I hope that somebody out there who's listening to this can find inspiration and find hope, in your own life and your own journey. I think I agree. When people tell me what I can't do, I get excited because now I got a goal to not just do it, but prove you wrong in the process. So I hope that resonates with somebody out there who's listening. And most importantly, I hope that you share this episode with somebody that you know who might need to hear this. Maybe they've been told no in their life, or maybe they don't believe that they can do certain things. And I think Dr. Erica Miller is a great testament that you can do anything, and anything is possible. So very grateful for you sharing the mic and sharing the presence today. And for those listening, I hope you continue to listen and join us every week for episodes of the Limitless Podcast. You can catch this anywhere that you subscribe to podcasts, and watch this video on YouTube. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.